Ladies and gentlemen, as I've been doing this research into trying to find out and test for a true inquiry into science about climate and weather, it occurred to me after doing several specials that a clear frame of reference needs to be introduced to the general public about what carbon is and what it isn't. And that since the entire new industrial complex, the seed of it is based on carbon dioxide, or CO2, I really think it's imperative that we talk to an expert who can translate what CO2 is and isn't. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to welcome Sherwood Idso, who is assumed the presidency of the Center for the Study of Carbon Dioxide and Global Change on October 4, 2001. Prior to that, he was a research physicist with the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Agricultural Research Service at the U.S. Water Conservation Laboratory in Phoenix, Arizona, where he worked till 1967. He's been closely associated with Arizona State University over most of this period, serving as an adjunct professor in the Department of Geology, Geography, and Botany, and also microbiology. He has a Bachelor of Physics, a Master of Science, a Doctor of Philosophy degree, all from the University of Minnesota. He has co-authored over 500 scientific publications, including the books Carbon Dioxide, Friend or Foe in 1982, and Carbon Dioxide and Global Change, Earth in Transition. He served on the editorial board of the International Journal Agricultural and Forest Meteorology from 1973 to 1993, and since 1993 has served on the editorial board of Environmental and Environmental Botany. Over the course of Sherwood's career, he's been invited reviewer of manuscripts for 56 different scientific journals and 17 different funding agencies, representing an unusually large array of disciplines. As a result of his early work in the field of remote sensing, Dr. Idso was honored with an Arthur S. Fleming Award given in recognition of his innovative research into fundamental aspects of agricultural climatological interrelationships affecting food production and the identification of achievable research goals whose attainment could significantly aid in assessment and improvement of world food supplies. This citation continues to express the spirit that animates his current research into the biospheric consequences of the ongoing rise in the air's CO2 content. If there were ever a time where the average person needed to have clear understanding into the truth of CO2 science, it's now, and it's with Sherwood Idso. Ladies and gentlemen, give a warm welcome to Sherwood Idso. It's Rainmaking time. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
I really want to thank you for being here. I realize that this is, for some reason, very controversial, but I know that there are some basic frames of reference that you're going to be able to illuminate today that clarify and distill the science for what it is, and the over 30 years of work you've had focused on CO2. Share with us what your take is and how to introduce CO2 to the public.
Well, I guess I'd begin by saying that we are often described as carbon-based life forms because we get what comprises our body from the foods we eat, and those foods, be they plant or animal, originate with plants through the process of photosynthesis, whereby carbon dioxide and water vapor are combined together to produce carbohydrates and various other types of substances that ultimately make their way through the food chain and into our bodies. So carbon is the basis of life on Earth, and photosynthesis is the process that drives it all. And carbon dioxide is what is the raw material that is used by photosynthesis to produce everything else that comes further on down the line. And there have been literally thousands upon thousands of experiments conducted in the real world, both in the laboratory and in the field, that indicate that if you enrich the air with carbon dioxide, as its concentration rises, the photosynthetic response of plants is positive. That is, they grow larger and faster, and they produce more biomass. And this means there is more of the various crops produced that sustain both us and animal life And at the same time, as they are producing more biomass under higher CO2 concentrations in the air, they reduce the small pores in their leaves called stomates. They reduce those openings, so it's a little bit more difficult for water to escape from the plant and be evaporated into the air. So they produce more biomass while using less water, and therefore their water use efficiency rises dramatically. And this is important because water is becoming a very scarce resource on the planet. It has been calculated, for example, that just a mere 40 years from now, even assuming various types of advancements in agricultural technology, that if we are going to sustain the human population of the planet, we are going to need all of the remaining freshwater resources on the surface of the earth to grow the crops that we will need to support humanity at that time. And we will also have to take a large amount of land away from what one could call wild nature in order to do this too. And this means that we are going to be driving innumerable species of both plants and animals to extinction as we take away their habitat. And unless the CO2 concentration of the air is allowed to rise according to its ongoing trajectory, due to the emissions of CO2 to the air by the burning of fossil fuels such as coal, gas, and oil, unless this continues to happen, even with projected advancements in technology, we are going to come up short in terms of food production, and we will have to usurp this extra land and water. And that's what is going to really hurt the rest of the biosphere. Now, it's kind of interesting that this is just the opposite of what you hear from the other side.
Right, and as I was saying to you, as we first spoke, I grew up thinking that carbon dioxide is a polluting phenomenon. So I've been scared of it my whole life.
Yeah, in fact, I think it was just today, or I'm not sure if it happened today or is about to happen, but the EPA is, the Environmental Protection Agency, is classifying it as a pollutant. And this is just ridiculous. It's just the opposite of a pollutant. It does all of these good things for the planet and the life upon it. It is the basis of life on Earth. And here they characterize it as the most evil substance that you can have, creating the greatest catastrophe that has ever faced mankind, the planet, etc.
You call it the breath of life. Why?
Well, for one thing, we actually do breathe it in and breathe it out. We breathe it in at a small concentration, and we breathe it out at a much larger concentration. And you can actually, in fact, I have done experiments of this nature where I have used my breath to enrich the concentration of CO2 in small enclosed biospheres. And I have been able to boost the growth of what I looked at particularly with small sour orange tree seedlings, enhance their growth dramatically by just breathing extra carbon dioxide into the air in which they grow.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the process of talking to Sherwood Idso at CO2 Science.org. Tell us about the organization.
Well, we're just a real small organization right now, composed of myself and two of my sons. They started it, one of my sons started it, I think about 12 years ago, I think it was. And each week we review the scientific literature, looking for studies that pertain to both the biological benefits of carbon dioxide enrichment of the air and the more controversial subject of what the rise in CO2 content may or may not do in terms of the climate of the Earth. And each week we review about 5 different scientific journal articles that touch on these topics. And we've been doing this every week since it began. And we now have a subject index on the site where you can